Hello, hello, a nice tail here. How is everyone today? I do hope you're having a good day. I'm going to start this off because I always forget. Drop a like and subscription and maybe comment or watch some of the videos in the background. Just have them play. That'd be great for the algorithm. You can trick it. You can do some fun stuff. That would help the channel and all that sort of stuff. I always forget to say all that. And so I'm doing it right out the bat here. What are we looking at today? We're looking at the Kizer Drop Bear. This is a summary. I have, in fact, done a review on this knife, and it's a good knife. So, if you want to stop listening here, that's perfectly fine. There are a ton of variants of this knife, and what are we looking at real quick? We're looking at in this case, this is one of the original variants. This one has the liners. It is a little thicker. In 154cm and aluminum, this one has been customized and modified with this paisley pattern. This is not stock. You've got Kizer's clutch lock, which is their Axis style lock. It is thumb stud actuated, and honestly has one of the closest things to a decent detent and really good action on one of these things. Yeah, you can fail it and everything like that, but if you really give it anything, it really does fly out there, which is really nice. It's very smooth, very controlled, centered, no play. Well, not on mine, at least. This has been a pretty popular model, and there is definitely a reason for it. As I said, there's a full review, which will go over everything else, but just a quick look. You've got basically a 2.9-inch blade, so under the 3-inch mark, which is important for some people. About 7.25 overall. So, blade, nice, clean, except, of course, I mean, it's a good spear point-ish, modified sheep's footy kind of blade. Good access to the tip, very universal general. It's reasonably thin behind the edge. It's got jimping that goes all the way along. Thumb studs, yeah, there's the name of the thing on it, and there's the code, which doesn't need to be on any of these things. I also don't like how Kizer does their logo on the bevel. I wish they just, get rid of the wording and put it way up here or smaller or something like that. Move the 154cm to where the drop bear is, because you don't need to tell us the name of the knife. We know, we bought it. Or we're looking at it online, and yeah. But this is... There are both budget versions and premium versions. There's also sort of a mid-tier version. It came out originally in sort of a mid-tier variant where it was around $100, $110-ish in the 154cm. It has the steel liners underneath the primarily aluminum. I think there was there some micarta versions to begin with? I don't remember. It's been a while. I'm pretty sure there was. Good thumb flick, though I keep slipping off of it today. And a good reverse flick, which is pretty easy. I can use both the nail and my meat of my finger. Both are quite easy. And of course you can use the ambidextrous lock, which pocket clip is reversible for, which is a good thing for the ambidextrous lock. And they all have reversible pocket clips, every variant you can get. I like that. It's a relatively small, compact knife. The original versions are thicker, because I think the newer versions that are budget versions have their liners... I don't know if they either don't have the same liner structure and just have a little bit, and it's internal and milled out, or if it's completely just hidden inside the scale. I don't know, but they're supposedly thinner. Probably a little bit lighter. Not that this is heavy. This is a very light, very usable knife. I also believe that the new pocket clips on them are slightly different. I think they changed the pocket clip style, which is good, in my opinion. Let's see. Nope, it's the same pocket clip. Never mind. The premium ones have a slightly different version of pocket clip. I think it's probably titanium or something like that. The pocket clip's not bad, but you definitely feel it. It's not uncomfortable at all, and you sort of wrap around it enough because it's a smaller enough handle that it's not a problem. So I don't mind it. It works. Doesn't need the flat at the end, as always, but... Ow, that just lifted up my, my nail. Wow, that slipped right off my finger and I wasn't expecting that. Alright, so, moving on from that, we have Kizer's clutch lock, which is their crossbar lock, and honestly, let's be honest, Kizer is doing really well with that. Kizer, I believe, was the first company that introduced the fact that not only are these pretty easily accessible, the scales do come off. I don't think you even have to take off the pivot. Or maybe you do. Either way, it's pretty easy to get in here. I can't remember. But their clutch lock is adjustable. There are several holes drilled back here that allow you to increase or decrease the tension on the springs. And they also often include extra springs that are stronger. So it's very customizable, very suitable to be set to you. I believe these are on the strongest settings, but I don't believe these are the stronger pair. I don't remember if the original ones came with a stronger pair, but I know I didn't swap them out, so if they are, they're in a box somewhere. But this is pretty reasonable. This is, I mean, like I said, you can definitely fail it, but it's definitely not mushy. It's definitely not hard. It will carry itself, just a decent little bit of flick, and it pops right open. Very good. Very nice. Satisfying. Good action. On bearings. This one has a tiny bit of stick if you really... No, you know what? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Occasionally you might feel a little bit of grab, but that's fine. Friction, right? It works itself in. It's very solid. No up and down. Kizer, I think, does some of the best crossbar locks, which is entertaining because they're oftentimes quite inexpensive. But they really have this thing dialed in. Plunge grind is, I mean, it's good. It is separated from the edge, and it is higher up, so you do have a decent amount of sharpenings there. Could it be better? Maybe, but yeah, the way the access bar lock sits, it pushes into that nook right there. So it's not near the back end. So if you ever do, you know, eat away that much steel, which is a decent amount of steel, you can cut in more oil. You can do whatever you want. Honestly, the blade's pretty great. The only thing I still don't like is them insisting upon the name and the code and the weird way they do their Kizer logo on the bevels. That's personal preference. It hasn't stopped this thing from being quite popular. Jimping's extended quite far. The jimping is not exactly the greatest jimping, but that might be because this is, you know, blackwashed or coated. I think this is a coating. It might be better on the non-coated ones, but it does provide some traction, I'll give it that, and it extends out nice and far, which is something you don't often see. There's also swedge up here, which is pretty nice. Not the best, I guess, for puncturing. I mean, it'll do it, but it doesn't have the most severe or acute of a tip compared to some knives, I suppose. But it shouldn't be that much of a problem. It is an overall smaller knife, yet I can still get a full 4-finger grip, and this is the thicker one, which is super comfortable. The edges are very rounded. Are they rounded? Yeah, I'd say they're not even chamfered. They're just fully rounded and radiused. The liners stick out a little bit on the original versions that were around that 110 mark with the 154 cm. So they aren't budget knives, but the newer released ones are in Nitro V, and they have a couple variants. I think there's a green laminated carbon fiber, and I'm sure there's a Mike Carter one, and I think there's a wood one even. They're only $69, which is pretty crazy good, and totally in the budget realm, and very, very recommendable. 100%. Did that sound like right? No, I don't know if that sound came out right. Recommendable. Who can talk for all this? All these, like, I'm doing all this off the cuff. There's no script or anything like that. This is just me talking to a camera, and yeah, it's interesting. Can you just speak for long periods of time? I mean, I'm assuming I'll get used to it, but it's still this long in, and it's still kind of weird. Aside from that, though, back to the knife real fast. Deep carry pocket clip works well. Reversible, as I said. This one with its modification is interesting. It's got like a tackiness to it. Whatever was done to this thing to get this paisley application of pattern added a lot of grip. So I can't comment on the original aluminum grip and what it felt like, but my guess is it was pretty smooth, but it was probably fine. It wasn't hurting for grip. I can get a full grip on this thing. It's honestly, they're great budget knives. The premium versions in like S45 yen at like $200, $210, or CPM 20CV at like $200. I think there's a mid tier at like 160 something in S35. There's a ton of options. There's even titanium variants, I believe. And I think there was a version in LC200N coming in at like $160, which I mean was pretty crazy. It looked interesting. There's also now fixed blade variants, which I've heard weren't kind of that great. And there's also a clutch lock Kizer style with removable razor blades, utility blade. It's called the UT Bear, which, I mean, one of the main versions that I've seen it shown off in is in the Ultim or the PEI in the yellow, and it's called the UT Bear, which just makes me think utility tract infection, but or not utility, urinary tract infection, but that may have been a bit of an oversight, but or loss in translation. But those are even cheaper. They're like $45. Overall, this thing is doing everything and doing it well. It also even falls under that 3-inch if you do have a knife law that says you can't carry something over 3 inches. It is technically locking, but overall, Kizer's doing some great stuff, and their clutch lock really was a big, almost improvement over with the adjustability and the options and the price that they got it coming out at. And just the consistency and the feel of their clutch lock is really good. So this is definitely one that is worth looking into. There's enough variants and enough choices here for you to get pretty much anything on most budgets, right? I suppose if your budget's $5, then you're kind of at a lot. But live vicariously through us who show these things on YouTube, I guess. I don't know what to help you. If your budget's $5, well, I'm not that far off. Who knows, maybe in a little bit of time I'll be there too, and I'll just be like, yep, nope. Knife collection is gone because, yeah, I'm out of budget. Who knows? But, yeah, Kizer Drop Bear. Great knife. Summary done. Like, subscribe, comment, and stick around for more stuff, and screw with the algorithm. Just have these things playing in the background, right? On repeat, right? Can't hurt. At least not me. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching.